the water.
Oh, those poor people.
Oh my gosh. Poor guys. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh no.
Oh no, it's really.
Oh no.
I know you remember this. You realize it's been 1 year today since that tragedy at Table Rock Lake in Branson, Missouri. Waters just got too rough, as you see there, for that duck boat. It capsized. It killed 17 people. The boat got onto the lake about 20 minutes after the National Weather Service had issued a severe storm warning. Tia Coleman was on that boat for a family reunion. Now, she survived, but she lost her husband and her 3 kids, along with 5 other relatives. Can you imagine? 1 year later, she says, quote, the crippling pain is constant, but she's fighting to get duck boats banned everywhere. The attorney for Tia Coleman with us now, Robert Mongeluzzi. Robert, thank you so much for being with us. First and foremost, how is she now?
As you might imagine, this is an incredibly difficult day. To lose your husband and 3 children and other family members, just a devastating blow. She is reflecting and praying today.
We are thinking and praying for her as well, because that's just something I think most people look at and can't fathom. I know that she is now on a mission to make things different, to make things better, to make sure this doesn't happen to anybody else. We know that there have been some charges brought forward already. Where do we still need to go with this? Where do you still need to go with this?
Yeah, certainly. Tia and the other victims of the duck boat are committed to have these things banned. They've killed 43 people in the last 20 years. If you relate that to cars and the number of duck boats, that would be like killing 75 million people with cars in the same period, or 20% of the population. These things are death traps, both on land and on water. The horror of this tragedy is that the National Transportation Safety Board in 2002 told the duck boat industry, these things are death traps, their canopies cage their passengers, and they sink. And make them more floatable and take off the canopies. The duck boat industry refused to do that. And we have had person after person after person drown. On the day of this, a year ago, it is even worse because Ripley's was told that there was going to be a storm and decided to try to beat the storm anyway. And what makes it even worse is that the person from Ripley's who was supposed to be monitoring the weather instead had been assigned by Ripley's to count cash, money, rather than to monitor passenger safety. That makes it even worse for these victims.
There are 2 things I want to ask you about. One, why are the duck boat advocates so determined not to make the modifications that they were asked to make? And is Tia getting any help from, public officials or politicians in this fight?
Sure. So in terms of why is the duck boat industry doing this, it's for the same reason why the Ripley's employee wasn't paying attention to safety, and that has to do with money. They refuse to spend the money to take off the canopies, and they refuse to spend the money to make them float better, and that's called reserve buoyancy. There have been measures. Congressman Carson out of Indianapolis has introduced legislation in the Congress in order to modify or ban duck boats. That still remains in Congress. Fortunately, the insurance for this industry is starting to dry up. The insurance companies are starting to realize that this is a terrible risk to insure, and they are starting to pull from the market as they should. These duck boats are death traps. They are floating, but not always coffins, and they should be banned and kill people on land as well.
Robert Mongeluzzi, thank you so much for bringing us up to date as to where this stands, and please let Tia know a lot of people are thinking about her today.
Thank you.